West Side level. And today what I want to do is demonstrate a little bit of mixed bus compression. Now we all heard about mixed bus compression, but in terms of the rap world and the hip hop world, there isn't too many tutorials on mixed bus compression taught by high level engineers, or at least producers who've gotten placements. So I'd like to give y'all a take on how I like to add some mixed bus compression to my mixes to give it tone and character. Alright, first let's start off by listening to the material. As you can see, we already got it leveled out in gain stage, so let's play it back.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
Sounding nice, sounding very punchy. I'm liking where everything's sitting. So what I'm going to do at this point is put a compressor on my complete master, and the compressor of choice is going to be Fruity Limiter. And then after this, I can go ahead and show you how I would do it with a plugin, a third-party plugin that you can buy from Waves called the SSL compressor. Alright, so first thing to listen for when we're dealing with mixed bus compression is the transient, because that's going to be the first thing that goes. Now, if you're a young engineer and you don't know what the word transient means, all I'm talking about when a transient is the loudest instrument in the mix that's giving it that impact and that punch. For this example, the transient of our mix would be our kick drum. So let's play our mix back real quick one more time without the compressor engaged.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
Okay, so keeping in mind the transient, the first thing I'm going to listen for when I'm dealing with my compression is the transient, the kick drum. Is that being taken away? Now, the first thing I'm going to do when I'm turn on the compressors. First let me go ahead and engage the compressor and set it to default by going to my presets and default. Bam. Alright, so we're just regular free. I'm using the Fruity Limiter in compression mode. So let's play it back with the compressor.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
First thing I'm going to do is set my ratio. Now, since we're since we're applying compression on the whole master, I'm not going to deal with a high ratio. I'm going to either stick with 2:1 or 4:1. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and do a ratio of 2:1. So let's get that engaged. All right. Next, let's start pulling this threshold down so we can get some engagement going.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
Alright, so as the plugin is showing us, we're starting to get a little bit of compression on our mix. Now we can see the compression is happening. Let's use our ears to listen back and see if our transients is being hurt, because remember, when we're dealing with compression on the mix bus, one of the first things we want to listen for is what's being done to our transients.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to A-B it. I'm going to play it without, and then with, and then without, and then with again. This is without.
Rick on them keys and them kicks.
right, so it sounded pretty good, but to me it sounds like our kick drum got a little bit softer. And when it comes to rap, I like my kick drums hitting hard. So I'm gonna back off our attack a little bit to preserve a little bit of that kick drum.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
Now notice when I backed off the attack, how the kick drum just started to open up and get a lot bigger. Also notice that a lot less gain reduction started to apply, so I had to bring the threshold down. So be aware of that when you're doing the compression. Next, let's adjust our release. And what we're going to do with our release knob is we're going to try to get the release to groove with the song by being fast enough but not too fast to where it distorts and kind of like messes up the groove of the song. So we're gonna just trying to find where the compressor can release and groove with the song, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, just watch as I do it and it'll make a lot more sense.
Brick on them keys and them kicks. Brick on them keys and them kicks.
Alright, now here's what I want you to notice about the release. Because my kick drums were spaced out, I was able to give it a little bit of a longer release, but also I still had to keep the release fast enough, because by the time that next kick drum hit, I want the release to already have reset it back to the original time.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
Now what we're going to do is A/B and see how our mix bus compression sounds now.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
That was without. Here's with.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
I'm gonna play that one more time. Here's without.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
And I want you to listen to the kick drum. Here's with.
Brick on them keys and them kicks.
Notice how when I add the mix bus compression, the whole song, first of all, to me it sounds like the song just starts to smack harder. Every time the kick drum hits, the whole song smacks harder. And why does that happen? Because of contrast. Notice that the compressor is being triggered by the kick drum, but just because it's being triggered by the kick drum doesn't mean that all the compressor is doing is turning down the kick drum. No, the compressor is turning down the whole mix every time the kick drum is triggered, which gives the effect of the song just straight smacking. And that's why compressors add punch to your mix bus. Now again, you saw how in hip hop I was being very careful with the way with my threshold. I wasn't slamming my mix bus. I was just barely kissing. They call it kissing in the mixing engineer world, but I was barely kissing my mix bus or my mix because I didn't want to hurt the transient, the punch of that kick drum, but I did want it to give it that little compressor smack pop effect. And also what we got is glue. You'll notice the whole song meshes together, and that's what compressors do. They give your song tone, groove, and just character. So yeah, if this tutorial helped you, like, subscribe, and spread the word. Westside Level, be smooth, gone.